Hey, it's Clay, CPAP My Way, CPAPmyway.com. Today we're here to discuss another new product, which is kind of a cool deal, and a very timely one for us. This is our newest addition to our CPAP lineup. It is the iBreeze Auto CPAP from Resvent, and we're pretty excited about it because we've had some pretty good experience with it so far. I'll be honest, we go through a lot of different things. We've had a lot of new CPAPs, especially lately, offered to us, and some of them are junk. This one is not. It's been performing well. We got to guinea pig it on my wife, which we'll drop another video in a little later. I'll tag it in here so you can see what she thinks about it. But anyway, we're excited to have it. It's a good product, especially at this time. So right off the bat, let me just show you the unit. This is it here. It's got an awesome 3.5-inch display. Really smooth navigating system. You'll see that in a little bit here. When you get the machine, it's going to come with a nice little travel case here. And inside the case, I want to point out a couple of things. One thing in particular you definitely need to pay attention to. Obviously, you're going to have your power supply. We'll get that plugged in a little bit here. You've got your tubing. It comes with a 15mm tube. Your manual, and then you'll have an extra filter or two, most likely, and an additional baggie there. It can work with 22 or 15, but what's included is the 15. The one thing I want to point out for sure is that it comes with this little adapter thingamabob. This is very important. So first thing you want to do when unpacking is just take this little thing out. If it hasn't already been assembled by your supplier, you will need to put this on. Spin your CPAP around. On the back here, you'll see unlock lock. And there's a little arrow on here. So first thing you do is kind of line it up to where that arrow is in the unlock, and then twist it to the right, snap it into place. This will allow you to connect your tube. I assume that it's shipped like this, obviously. Well, my assumption is so that it doesn't break off or crack or cause any issues. So you do have to pop that on there if your supplier hasn't done so already. So make sure you do that first off, or you'll be wondering how in the world you hook this thing up. The overall dimensions of this unit is about 9.4 inches by 7.5 by 5. So it doesn't take up a whole lot more space than any of the other main CPAPs on the nightstand for sure. It weighs at just about 3.4 pounds, so a little less than 3.5 pounds. As I said earlier, you can use a 15 or a 22mm tubing, and I'll show you later in the patient menu where you would make that adjustment, but it will work with either one. The humidifier is integrated on this one, which is a pretty cool deal. So you look around, you don't see any water, right? But there's a little window on the side here where you've got your max and min. To open the water chamber, there's a little kind of thumb hold right there. Just pinch it, it slides right out. And this is your water reservoir. So it just slides in and out really simply. And to fill it, all you have to do is unlatch it. There's a little latch on the back. Oops. Just a little latch on the back, and then it flips open here. Comes right off. You'll notice there's a max line. So you'll fill to the max, cap it back up, and again, just lock it back shut. And then you're able to just slide it right back into place. I'll show you in the menu a little later on, but the only way you can adjust the humidity in this unit is if there's water in the chamber. Otherwise, it disables the humidifier and the humidifier settings, which I found interesting that it even knows when there's water in there. But that is something of note on the humidifier side that I'll show you a little more detail once we're going through the patient menu here. On the other side is where you'll find your filter. Flip that little latch open. It's a magnetic filter cover, so you just kind of get it up there. It latches itself. Just a disposable filter in this model. So similar to like the ResMed, it needs to be tossed every 2 to 4 weeks, and there's usually 1 or 2 extra included with the kit, depending on your supplier, of course. And then also on this side is your SD card, similar to a lot of other devices. It stores up to a year's worth of data on the SD card. It will record all of your usage, AHI, central apnea, everything you need to know about your therapy, or that your doctor or clinician needs to know about your therapy, is housed on here, and it is reportable. So let's plug it up and we'll run through the patient menu just so you have an idea of what you're getting into. All right. So when you're plugging it up, obviously it's an AC plug, but it hooks up right onto the back corner back here. When you first plug it in, it beeps. I'll also tell you, just out of experience, oh, I turned it on, sorry. I'll also tell you just out of experience that if the unit is running and the power goes out or it's unplugged, there's an alarm that'll go on. The only way to disable that alarm is to quickly open up your SD card slot, take the SD card out, put it back in, and the alarm will stop. The alarm's built to wake you up and let you know, hey, I'm no longer working, the power went out. But I was surprised at how long it lasted, so just an FYI on that front. In the patient level menu, which is what you're at right off the bat on this particular device, you've got info, humidity, mask fit, comfort, and settings, right? So if you click on info, this is where you'll see all of your information about your usage. So how much you've been using it, what your AHI is, how your mask is fitting, and it's got a 3-star review on your humidifier and mask fit. 3 stars is perfect, and then obviously 2 stars is mediocre, 1 star would be not so good. So it's a 3-star system on the report itself. You can spin to the left, highlight the back arrow, and go back out of that menu. You can scroll down, but you'll notice it's jumping over humidity. And that is because I have no water in the humidifier. So in a moment I'll put some in there and show you. But we'll skip down now to mask fit. Obviously, this is where you would put on your mask, hit the mask fit, and it's going to tell you whether or not you have a good mask seal. It's telling me right now I have a great one. If I needed to adjust it, obviously you would. And then it goes back to good. You can stop the mask fit at any time. If you go to another menu option and click on it, you've got comfort, right? So here you've got your IPR, which is similar to EPR in ResMed or Flex in Respironics. It can go anywhere from off to 3, and it represents 1 centimeter of exhalation relief. So this would be 1 centimeter of exhalation relief, 2 centimeters of exhalation relief, 3 of exhalation relief. So the higher you run it, the more relief you get when you're exhaling. You got the auto start on, so this would just be whether or not you want the machine to turn on by itself when you start breathing on the mask. Auto stop, the same thing. When you take the mask off, it'll turn itself off. You've got your ramp starting pressure here, right? Next, you've got your ramp time. That can go as high as a full hour on this model, or as low as off. You know, most people run it around 30 minutes or so. Tube type, which I alluded to earlier, can be changed to either the 15 or the what typically is called a 22, but the center diameter is 19. So if you've got thicker standard tube like an old-fashioned tube, you're going to click on that 19. If you're using the one that comes with it or a slim tube, it's 15. And then of course you've got mask type, right? So if you're using a full face, a pillow, or a nasal, select it and you're good to go. Once you do that, it'll pop you back up to the back menu. Finally, you've got your settings here, and in the patient level menu, this is all really just, you know, the surface level stuff. So you're not going to be able to touch anything as far as pressure or settings, clinical settings that is in here. But you can change the units. You know, most people are going to want to see this in centimeters. It's the common deal: language, brightness, energy saving, whether you want it to dim or not, the date, all that good stuff. You can even put an alarm clock on in here, which I found pretty interesting, right? So when you turn it on, it gives you the ability to scroll down here and set your alarm. So if you wake up at 5, put it in there and you're good to go. I'm going to turn that off. All right, and then of course you can set reminders in here and just information about your machine there. So pretty simple deal. So also for the sake of the humidifier deal, I just want to show you. Let me go grab some water. All right, so they do recommend distilled water in here. This is a little Aquafina. But to fill it, again, like we said, all you got to do is pull it out. And you got your little latch on the back here. Just unlatch it, take your top off. I'm not going to fill it all the way up, but obviously put your water in there, which needs to be distilled. Cap it back up and clip it shut. And then when you slide it in, we now have the ability to highlight humidity and adjust it. Humidity can go from or zero to as high as 8. A lot of people just put it in the auto mode and let the machine's internal algorithm work for itself. It's constantly measuring your room humidity and room temperature to see if it should or can add any more humidity to the air. So leaving it in auto is kind of a nice feature on this unit. But If you want to mess with it yourself, you absolutely can. Just click on it, increase to get more humidity, decrease to get less humidity, and then lock it in. But once again, just to reiterate, if you do not have the ability to adjust your humidifier, it's probably because there's no water in the tank. We personally have had some good experience with it, and it has a 2-year warranty. We would be honoring that for you, whatever supplier you're getting it from. So it's a well-backed machine. We don't expect any issues, and it runs really, really well. So let's fire it up just so you can get an idea of what it sounds like here. When you turn the unit on, you'll notice immediately, so we've got our pressure starting off at 3 there. As you breathe, the little leaves get bigger and smaller, kind of like your lungs. All right. But just running right now, this is it running. It definitely does not make a whole lot of noise. It is a very, very quiet unit. After it runs for a few minutes here, it will turn the little dimmer on the front will go completely dim, so you don't have any backlight in the room. As you can see now, it went completely dark. It is still running. I know a lot of people get concerned. I don't feel it, I don't hear it. Just press the knob and it'll wake the unit back up, and you can see that it's actually running there again. You'll notice obviously it's got your max and min settings here. This one's in an auto mode, and then it'll see R-Care off. R-Care is just a little feature that enables a little bit more comfort in the starting pressure on the algorithm. So that can be enabled or disabled by your provider based upon how you're doing. You obviously have the ramp button over here. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, maybe it's your first time on CPAP, it feels like a little too much pressure, you can hit that ramp button. It'll bring the pressure back down, give you a little chance to fall back asleep before that pressure comes all the way back up. It's also a good feature if you're on a set pressure or fixed pressure CPAP to use the ramp when you're first falling asleep, so you don't have to deal with that full pressure, especially if this is your first go on CPAP. But then to turn it off, again, just that off button on top, and the machine is now off. So overall, we really like the unit. I think it's going to be a really nice addition to the current models that we carry, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. So as always, we would love to have you comment with any questions or feedback of your own experience. And if you like the information, we always appreciate a nice thumbs up. And if you want more info, feel free to subscribe and follow us. And thanks again for watching.